A single piano note, pure and clear, floated through the silent mansion. Then a harsh voice cut through the air. "What do you think you're doing?" The realtor Jessica looked at the little black girl with disgust. "This piano is worth more than your life. Your hands are far too dirty to touch something so beautiful." In the next room, Mr. Davies froze. That piano hadn't been played since his wife, a concert pianist, had died. As he listened to the humiliation continue, he realized that the woman wasn't just insulting a child. She was insulting the memory of his wife and the dream of his own daughter. But before we dive into the full story, let me know where you're watching from and what time it is. Now subscribe to the channel and let's get started. "Don't touch anything in this house," Maria whispered to her 6-year-old daughter. "Remember, we need this job." Lily Rodriguez nodded, her blue eyes wide as she clutched her small backpack. The Davies mansion towered over them, its brick exterior and tall windows intimidating against the morning sky. Located in Beacon Hill, the wealthiest neighborhood in Boston, it stood as a monument to old money and success. Maria sighed, checking her watch. It was 7:30 in the morning. "I'm sorry I had to bring you today. Mrs. Peterson couldn't take all 3 of you." "It's okay, Mommy. Rose and Violet will have fun without me," Lily said softly, referring to her 2 sisters. The Davies mansion had been Maria's Tuesday cleaning job for the past 2 years. The pay was better than her other cleaning positions, and the owner, William Davies, was never home. According to Mrs. Henderson, the property manager who had hired her, Mr. Davies rarely left his downtown office. The mansion had stood mostly empty since the death of his wife, Emily Davies, 3 years ago. As they entered through the service door, Maria gave Lily strict instructions. "You can color in your book at the kitchen table. Don't wander around. This place has many expensive things that can break easily." Lily nodded again, her dark curls bouncing. "I'll be good, Mommy." The mansion was silent, as always. Dust particles danced in the sunbeams, streaming through tall windows. Maria set up Lily at the kitchen table with her coloring books and a small snack. "I'll be cleaning upstairs. Stay here, okay?" Maria said, gathering her cleaning supplies. "I'll check on you every 30 minutes. After Maria disappeared up the grand staircase, Lily sat quietly for a while, coloring a picture of a butterfly. But the silence of the big house made her curious. She had never been alone in such a grand place before. After finishing her apple slices, she decided to explore, just a little bit. The hallway outside the kitchen seemed to go on forever. Lily walked slowly, looking at paintings on the walls. They showed people with serious faces and fancy clothes. She passed a library with more books than she had ever seen, and a dining room with a table long enough for 20 people. Then she found a set of double doors, slightly open. Peeking inside, she discovered the biggest room she had ever seen. Sunlight poured through floor-to-ceiling windows, illuminating a space that seemed made for dancing. In the corner sat something that made Lily's heart beat faster. A beautiful black piano. She had seen pianos before, on television and at school. Her kindergarten teacher, Miss Thompson, sometimes played songs for the class. Lily loved music more than anything. When the radio played at home, she would hum along perfectly, catching melodies after hearing them just once. The piano drew her forward like a magnet. It was covered with a thin layer of dust, as if no one had played it for a very long time. Lily approached carefully, afraid to disturb anything in this quiet room. When she reached the instrument, she stood on her tiptoes to see the keys. They were smooth and white, with black keys mixed in between. Without thinking, Lily extended one small finger and pressed a single white key. The sound was pure and beautiful, echoing through the silent house. The note hung in the air for a moment, then faded away. Lily smiled, delighted by the sound. "What do you think you're doing?" The sharp voice made Lily jump. A tall woman with blonde hair stood in the doorway, her face tight with anger. She wore an expensive-looking suit and high heels that clicked loudly as she stormed across the room. "This piano is worth more than your mother will earn in her entire life. the woman said, grabbing Lily's wrist. "Your hands are far too dirty to touch it." Lily tried to pull away, but the woman's grip was strong. "I'm Jessica Taylor, the real estate agent selling this property," she said, "and you have no right to be in here touching anything." Jessica pulled a tissue from her pocket. "Wipe that key you touched, now." "I don't have a—" "Use your shirt then." Tears filled Lily's eyes as she used the edge of her shirt to wipe the piano key. Her hands weren't dirty. Maria had made sure she washed them before they left home. But Lily was too frightened to argue. "If I catch you touching anything else in this house, I'll make sure your mother loses her job," Jessica threatened. "Now where is she?" "Upstairs," Lily whispered, tears streaming down her face. She tried not to cry loudly, remembering how her mother had taught her to be brave. "Go back to wherever you're supposed to be sitting," Jessica ordered. "This house is for sale, and I have clients coming this afternoon. I can't have grubby children running around touching everything." Unknown to both of them, a man stood in the shadows of the hallway, watching the entire scene. William Davies had returned to his mansion unexpectedly that morning, needing documents from his home office. At 58, he was tall, with salt and pepper hair and tired blue eyes. He hadn't planned to stay long. He rarely did these days. The house held too many memories of Emily, but the sound of the piano had stopped him in his tracks. For a moment he thought Emily was somehow there, playing their piano again. Then he heard Jessica's harsh voice and saw her confronting the little girl. William was about to step forward when he got a clear look at the child's face. He froze, his breath catching in his throat. The girl had his eyes, the same unusual shade of blue that his mother had, that he had inherited. And something in her delicate features reminded him powerfully of Emily, though that made no sense at all. As he watched the crying child hurry away, memories rushed back. 3 years ago, during the worst period of his life when Emily's cancer had gone into temporary remission and they had separated briefly, he had found comfort in a relationship with a cleaning woman from his office building. Maria. That had been her name. Their brief relationship had ended when Emily's cancer returned, and he had gone back to his wife without a backward glance. He had never known what happened to Maria afterward. Could this child possibly be? William retreated to his study, his heart pounding. The timing would be right. The girl looked about 6 years old, and those eyes. He would recognize that exact shade of blue anywhere. He sat at his computer and pulled up the security system. The house was equipped with cameras in most areas for security purposes. He found footage from previous Tuesdays and watched with growing certainty as the same woman and child arrived each week. The cleaning service had told him they sent different people, but it seemed Maria had become his regular cleaner without his knowledge. Through the security feed, he could now see Maria hurrying down the stairs, obviously looking for her daughter. When she found Lily sitting quietly back at the kitchen table, she knelt before her. "What's wrong, mi corazón? Why are you crying?" "I'm sorry, Mommy," Lily whispered. "I touched the piano and a lady got mad at me." William watched as Maria pulled her daughter into a hug, whispering comforting words in Spanish. His chest tightened with an unfamiliar emotion as he observed them together. He opened his browser and searched for birth records in Massachusetts from 6 years ago. If his suspicions were correct, this would change everything. He had built his life around his companies and foundations after Emily's death, becoming increasingly isolated. The thought that he might have a child, possibly children, that he knew nothing about, was overwhelming. An hour later, William sat back in his chair, staring at his screen. He had found what he was looking for. Maria Rodriguez had given birth to triplet girls 6 years ago, Lily, Rose, and Violet, born exactly 9 months after their brief relationship had ended. Through the window, he could see Jessica showing a wealthy couple around the grounds. He had listed the mansion for sale 3 months ago, unable to bear living among memories of Emily. Now, he reached for his phone to call his real estate company. "This is William Davies," he said when the agency director answered. "I need you to take my property off the market immediately." As he hung up, William turned to watch the security feed again. Maria was efficiently cleaning the master bedroom, unaware that the owner of the house was downstairs or that he had just discovered their connection. William Davies had built his fortune developing medical software systems. He had created companies worth billions, established charitable foundations, and constructed buildings across Boston. But as he watched Maria comfort the little girl with his blue eyes, he realized he had failed at building what mattered most: a family. And now, with this revelation, he had decisions to make that would change all their lives forever. William stared at his computer screen for a long time after canceling the mansion listing. The birth certificates confirmed what his eyes had already told him. Lily Rodriguez was his daughter, and she had 2 sisters, triplets. The thought made his head spin. 3 daughters, he whispered to the empty study. I have 3 daughters I never knew about. Over the next few days, William barely left his study. He canceled meetings and told his assistant he was working from home. Instead, he was watching hours of security footage from the mansion, seeing Maria and occasionally Lily on previous Tuesdays. In one recording from 3 weeks ago, he saw Lily standing near the piano, looking at it with longing but not touching it. She had just stretched out her hand when Maria called her name, and she quickly stepped away. The child clearly loved music but seemed afraid to explore it. William hired a private investigator, Jack Thompson, to learn more about Maria and the triplets. I need all the information you can find, William told him during a phone call. Where they live, her work schedule, the girls' school, everything. May I ask why you're interested in this family, Mr. Davies? Jack asked. It's personal, William replied. But I assure you my intentions are good. 3 days later, Jack delivered a folder with his findings. Maria worked 3 cleaning jobs: the Davies mansion on Tuesdays, a downtown office building on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, and a small apartment complex on Thursdays. She lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in Dorchester, one of Boston's less expensive neighborhoods. The rent was $800 per month, and according to Jack's sources, she was 2 months behind on payments. The triplets attended Lincoln Elementary School. Their teacher had noted that Lily showed unusual musical ability and had recommended music lessons, but there was no record of her receiving any. William looked through photos Jack had taken from a distance. 3 identical little girls with dark curls playing in a small park. In some pictures, Maria sat on a bench watching them, looking tired but smiling. The sight made William's chest hurt. While William was discovering his daughter's existence, Maria was facing her own struggles. After the incident with Jessica Taylor, she worried about bringing Lily to work again, but she had no choice. You need to stay right by my side today, Maria told Lily as they entered the mansion the following Tuesday. No wandering around, okay? Okay, Mommy, Lily said quietly. She had been subdued since Jessica yelled at her. They had barely started cleaning when Jessica arrived with potential buyers. You need to stay out of sight, Jessica said coldly to Maria. And why is that child here again? This is completely unprofessional. I'm sorry, Ms. Taylor, Maria replied, trying to keep her voice steady. I don't have childcare options today. That's not my problem, Jessica snapped. If I see her touching anything, I'm reporting you to the cleaning service. You'll lose this job immediately. After Jessica walked away, Maria's hands shook as she continued dusting. This job paid $20 per hour, $5 more than her other positions. Losing it would mean falling further behind on rent. That evening, Maria sat at her small kitchen table sorting bills while her daughters played in the living room. A knock at the door revealed her neighbor and friend, Sarah Johnson. You look exhausted, Sarah said, sitting down across from Maria. Rough day? Maria nodded. That real estate agent at the Davies house threatened to report me for bringing Lily again. If I lose that job... Can't their father help? Sarah asked. You've never told me much about him. Maria sighed. He never knew about them. We only dated for a few months. His name was Bill, and he worked in one of the buildings I cleaned downtown. When his wife got sick again, he went back to her. I found out I was pregnant after he was gone. You never tried to find him? Sarah asked. What would I say? Sorry your wife is sick, but I'm having your babies? Maria shook her head. He made his choice. I made mine. Meanwhile, across town, William met with Robert Mitchell, his business partner and lawyer for 20 years. They sat in William's home office, surrounded by financial reports. You've been distracted all week, Robert said. The board is asking questions about the canceled property listing. What's going on? William took a deep breath. I've discovered something unexpected. I have children, Robert. 3 daughters. Robert stared at him. What are you talking about? William explained the situation, his brief relationship with Maria during his separation from Emily, his recent discovery of the triplets. These girls are 6 years old and I never knew they existed, William finished. Robert's expression darkened. William, you need to be extremely careful here. If this becomes public, it could damage everything you've built. Your reputation, your business, Emily's legacy, all at risk. They're my daughters, William said firmly. You don't know that for certain, Robert countered. You need DNA tests before you do anything. For all you know, this woman could be setting you up. These girls could destroy everything you've built. You didn't see her, Robert. She has no idea who I am. She knew me as Bill, not William Davies, the billionaire. As they argued, William felt a sudden sharp pain in his chest. He had been experiencing these pains frequently in recent weeks, along with a persistent cough, but had ignored them, focusing instead on the discovery of his children. Are you all right? Robert asked, noticing William's discomfort. Just tired, William lied. After Robert left, William couldn't stop thinking about Lily standing at Emily's piano. Emily had loved music so much. She had believed everyone deserved a chance to experience it, regardless of their background. Before her illness, she had taught free piano lessons to children from low-income neighborhoods. She would have wanted Lily to play, William said aloud to the empty room. The next morning, William finally made the doctor's appointment he'd been putting off. Dr. Anderson had been his physician for 15 years and had also treated Emily during her illness. I don't like what I'm seeing, William, Dr. Anderson said after examining him. The symptoms you're describing, combined with your family history, we need to run tests immediately. 3 days later, William sat across from Dr. Anderson as he delivered the results. I'm afraid it's not good news, the doctor said gently. You have the same type of aggressive cancer that Emily had. It's already in stage 3. How long? William asked, his voice steady despite the shock. With treatment, maybe a year. Without it, 6 months at most. William walked out of the office in a daze, the same cancer that took Emily. The cruel irony wasn't lost on him. He had hidden from life after losing her, burying himself in work. Now, when he had discovered a reason to truly live again, his daughters, his time was running out. That evening, William sat at Emily's piano for the first time since her death. He ran his fingers over the keys, remembering how she would play for hours. What would Emily think of Lily and her sisters? She had wanted children so badly but couldn't have them due to early cancer treatments. She would have loved them, William whispered. In that moment, he made his decision. He would meet his daughters regardless of the consequences to his reputation or business. He would use whatever time he had left to know them and make sure they were provided for. William circled the following Tuesday on his calendar, the day Maria and Lily would return to clean the mansion. This time, he would be there to meet them properly. As he prepared for bed that night, William looked at the photo of the triplets playing in the park. His daughters. The thought still felt surreal. He had less than a year to become their father, to make up for 6 years of absence. Time, which had dragged endlessly since Emily's death, was suddenly precious and fleeting. Tuesday morning arrived with a bright spring sun. William stood in front of his bathroom mirror, adjusting his tie, then removing it completely. A suit seemed too formal, too intimidating for this meeting. Instead, he chose a simple blue button-down shirt and gray pants. He wanted Maria to see him as the Bill she once knew, not William Davies, the billionaire. His hands shook slightly as he combed his hair. The cancer diagnosis weighed heavily on his mind, but today wasn't about that. Today was about meeting his daughters, or at least one of them. He practiced what he would say to Maria, rehearsing different openings, but nothing sounded right. From his study, William watched the security monitor. At exactly 9 o'clock, Maria's old green car pulled up to the service entrance. He saw her help Lily out, adjusting her backpack straps. William's heart raced as he realized this would be his first real interaction with his daughter. "Stay calm," he told himself. "This isn't about you. It's about them." William waited 5 minutes after they entered the house, giving Maria time to settle Lily with her coloring books in the kitchen. Then he walked slowly down the main staircase, his footsteps echoing in the empty hallway. Maria was arranging her cleaning supplies when she heard footsteps. Assuming it was Jessica, she tensed, preparing for another unpleasant encounter. But when she turned around, the bottle of cleaning spray dropped from her hand. "Bill?" She gasped, her eyes wide with shock. William stood frozen in the doorway. "Hello, Maria." For a long moment, they simply stared at each other. Maria looked exactly as William remembered. Warm brown eyes, wavy dark hair pulled back into a practical ponytail, a face that transformed when she smiled. But she wasn't smiling now. "You're William Davies?" she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. "The owner of this house? The one I've been cleaning for 2 years?" William nodded. "Yes." "I don't understand," Maria said, backing away slightly. "Why didn't you say anything? You must have known I worked here." "I didn't," William said truthfully. "I'm rarely here. The property manager handles everything. I only discovered you worked here last week when I came back unexpectedly and saw you with Lily." At the mention of her daughter's name, Maria's expression hardened. She looked toward the kitchen where Lily sat coloring, unaware of the drama unfolding. "We need to talk privately," William said quietly. "Please, my study is upstairs." Maria hesitated, then called to Lily. "Stay right here, mi corazón. I need to speak with Mr. Davies for a few minutes. Don't leave the kitchen." Lily nodded, focused on her coloring book. "Okay, Mommy." William led Maria to his study and closed the door. The room was lined with books and featured a large desk overlooking the garden. He offered her a seat, but she remained standing. "Why did you disappear?" Maria asked immediately, her voice trembling with emotion. 3 years ago, you just vanished. No call, no explanation, nothing." William sighed heavily. "Emily's cancer came back. The doctors gave her 6 months. I had to go back to her." "You couldn't make a phone call?" Maria's eyes flashed with anger. "I understood you needed to return to your wife. What I didn't understand was being treated like I meant nothing." "You're right," William said quietly. "I handled it terribly. I was overwhelmed with Emily's diagnosis, but that's no excuse. I'm sorry." Maria crossed her arms, studying his face. "And now what? Why are you suddenly here today waiting for me?" William took a deep breath. "I saw Lily last week, when Jessica was yelling at her about the piano. You saw that?" Maria's anger seemed to intensify. "You stood there and watched that woman humiliate my daughter and did nothing?" "I was in shock," William admitted, "because when I saw Lily's face I recognized something. My eyes. My mother's eyes." He paused. "Lily is my daughter, isn't she?" The color drained from Maria's face. She sank into the chair she had previously refused. "Yes," she said after a long silence. "Lily is yours. And her sister's too." "Sisters?" William asked, though he already knew the answer. "Triplets. Lily, Rose, and Violet." Maria's voice softened when speaking their names. "They're 6 years old." William sat down across from her. "Why didn't you tell me you were pregnant?" "How could I?" Maria's eyes filled with tears. "Your wife was dying. And you made it very clear our relationship was over. I was just the woman who cleaned your office building. You were returning to your real life." The words stung, but William knew they were true. "I would have helped you." "With money?" Maria asked sharply. "I didn't want your money. My daughters needed a father who wanted them, not a check from a man who couldn't even call to say goodbye properly." They sat in silence for a moment, the weight of 3 years of unspoken words hanging between them. "I want to meet them," William finally said. "All of them." "Why now?" Maria asked. "What changed?" Before William could answer, they heard music, a simple, hesitant melody coming from downstairs. Lily had found the piano again. They both rushed downstairs to the ballroom. Lily sat at the grand piano, carefully pressing one key at a time, trying to play a song she had heard at school. Maria started forward, but William gently touched her arm. "Wait, please." Instead of scolding Lily or pulling her away from the piano, William approached slowly and sat down on the bench beside her. Lily froze, her small hands hovering above the keys. "Am I in trouble?" she whispered. "Not at all," William said gently. "This piano likes to be played." "It's been too quiet for too long." Lily looked at him with uncertainty. "The lady said I shouldn't touch it." "The lady was wrong," William said firmly. "Music is for everyone." He placed his hands on the keys and played a simple melody, the first piece Emily had taught him. "Would you like to learn?" Lily's eyes widened with excitement. She nodded eagerly. "Put your hand here." William guided her small fingers to the correct keys. "Now press each one, like this." Maria watched from the doorway, tears streaming down her face as her daughter played her first piano notes under the guidance of her father. The scene was everything she had once dreamed of, but had forced herself to forget, Lily discovering music with her father's help. After a few minutes of simple playing, William looked up and saw Maria watching them. The expression on her face was complicated, joy at seeing Lily's happiness mixed with fear and uncertainty. "Thank you," Lily said when the short lesson ended. "Can I play more next time?" "Of course," William replied, his voice thick with emotion. "I would like that very much." Maria called Lily back to the kitchen to continue coloring, then returned to face William. "They don't know about you," she said quietly. "I told them their father died before they were born." William flinched at her words. "I understand why you did that." "I need time," Maria said. "This is overwhelming. Finding out that Bill and William Davies are the same person. Watching you with Lily. It's too much to process all at once." "I respect that," William said. "But I want to be part of their lives, Maria. I want to know my daughters." Maria studied his face. "Why? You have your mansion, your companies, your perfect life. Why complicate things with 3 children you never wanted?" "That's not true," William protested. "I never knew about them. There's a difference." He hesitated, then decided honesty was the only path forward. "And my life is far from perfect." Maria sensed something in his tone. "What aren't you telling me?" William considered revealing his diagnosis but decided against it. He didn't want her decision to be based on pity. "I've missed 6 years of their lives," he said instead. "I don't want to miss any more." Maria nodded slowly. "I need to think about all this, about what's best for the girls." "Of course," William agreed. "Take all the time you need." He reached into his pocket and handed her a business card. "My personal number is on the back. Call me when you're ready to talk again." As Maria pocketed the card, neither realized that William had handed her the card from his oncologist's office. On the back, beside his number, were the results of his latest tests and the words, "I don't have much time left." Maria gathered Lily and their belongings, the usual cleaning forgotten today. As they left through the service door, William watched from the window, wondering if he would ever have the chance to know all 3 of his daughters, or if Maria would decide that bringing him into their lives would cause more pain than joy. 7 days passed with no word from Maria. William checked his phone constantly, hoping to see her name appear on the screen. Each night he sat at Emily's piano, playing the simple melody he had taught Lily, wondering if she remembered it. On the 8th day after their meeting, Maria finally discovered the back of William's business card. She had been cleaning out her purse at her kitchen table when she found it. Turning it over, she saw not just his phone number but medical test results and the handwritten words, "I don't have much time left." Her hand trembled as she read the diagnosis. The same aggressive cancer that had taken his wife. Terminal. Maria sat stunned, the card clutched in her fingers. "Mommy, can I have more juice?" Lily asked, appearing beside her. Maria quickly tucked the card away. "Yes, mi corazón." That evening, after the girls were asleep, Maria called her friend Sarah. "He's dying, Sarah," Maria said, her voice breaking. "The same cancer that killed his wife." "Oh my God," Sarah responded. "What are you going to do?" Maria sighed. "I don't know. Part of me thinks the girls are better off never knowing him. Why let them love a father only to lose him? But then," she paused, "I saw him with Lily at the piano. There was something so right about it. They deserve to know their father," Sarah said gently, "even if it's just for a short time." The next morning, Maria dialed William's number. He answered on the first ring. "Maria," he said, his voice hopeful, "I'm glad you called." "I saw what was written on the back of your card," Maria said directly, "about your diagnosis." There was silence before William spoke. "I didn't realize I gave you that card. I wasn't trying to use my illness to pressure you." "I know," Maria replied, "but it changes things. The girls should have a chance to know you, even if—" She couldn't finish the sentence. "Even if I don't have long." William completed her thought. "Thank you, Maria." They arranged to meet that Saturday at Franklin Park, a neutral public place that Maria chose instead of William's mansion or her small apartment. Maria arrived first with the 3 girls, all dressed in their best clothes. Rose kept asking questions about who they were meeting, while Violet quietly observed everything around her. Lily seemed lost in thought, humming the piano melody William had taught her. "Girls," Maria said as they sat on a park bench, "remember I told you your father died before you were born? That wasn't exactly true." "You lied to us?" Rose asked immediately, her face serious. "Not exactly," Maria explained. "I thought he was out of our lives forever. But he didn't know about you until recently, and now he wants to meet you." Before the girls could ask more questions, William approached. He carried 3 gift bags and looked nervous. Maria noticed he seemed thinner than just a week ago. "Hello?" William said, stopping a few feet away. The 3 identical faces turned to him. Lily recognized him immediately. "You're the piano man," she said softly. William smiled. "Yes, I am." "Girls," Maria said, "this is William Davies. He's your father." Rose stood up, placing her hands on her hips. "Are you really our dad? Where have you been all this time?" William knelt down to meet her eyes. "Yes, I am your father. And I didn't know about you until very recently. If I had known, I would have been here sooner." "Do you have proof?" Rose demanded. William looked surprised, then smiled. "You have my eyes. All 3 of you. And you have my mother's chin." Violet, the quietest of the 3, studied William's face carefully before speaking. "Why are you here now?" "Because I want to know you," William answered honestly. "All of you." He handed each girl a gift bag. "I brought you something." Inside were expensive dolls, each wearing an outfit in the colors of their names, Lily white, Rose red, and Violet purple. While Lily and Violet looked pleased, Maria frowned. "That's very generous, but we can't accept such expensive gifts," she said firmly. "But Mommy," Lily protested. "No, your mother is right," William said quickly. "I should have asked first." He collected the dolls, promising something more appropriate next time. The girls looked disappointed, but Maria gave him an approving nod. They walked through the park, the awkwardness slowly fading as the girls began to show their personalities. Rose pointed out facts about the trees and birds, displaying her interest in science. Violet quietly sketched the fountain in a small notebook she carried. Lily stopped to listen whenever they passed someone playing music. "They're doing well in school," Maria said as they watched the girls play on the swings. "What school do they attend?" William asked. "Lincoln Elementary in Dorchester." William frowned slightly. "I've heard the schools in that area are overcrowded. Have you considered other options? I could help with—" "They're fine where they are," Maria interrupted, her tone sharp. "The teachers care about them." "I didn't mean to criticize," William said quickly. "I just want what's best for them." "And you think you know what's best after one meeting?" Maria's eyes flashed. "Their school is good enough. We've managed fine without your money for 6 years." William's face fell. "I wasn't trying to buy their affection, Maria. I just want to help. You can't just appear with expensive dolls and private school suggestions and expect to become their father overnight," Maria said, lowering her voice so the girls wouldn't hear. "Being a parent isn't about what you can give them. It's about being there." "I know that," William replied, "and I want to be there. Please, give me a chance to learn how." Their tense conversation was interrupted when they realized Lily was no longer on the swings. Maria looked around frantically until she spotted her daughter by the park entrance. An older man was playing a portable keyboard, and Lily stood watching him. As Maria and William approached, the musician noticed Lily's interest. "Do you play, little one?" he asked kindly. Lily nodded shyly. "Would you like to try?" He moved aside, making space for her. To Maria's surprise, Lily sat down and began to play the simple melody William had taught her. The musician smiled and began to add chords to accompany her. The music drew passers-by who stopped to watch the small girl playing with such concentration. William stood mesmerized. "She remembered every note," he whispered. When Lily finished, people applauded, making her blush. The musician patted her shoulder. "You have a gift, young lady," he said. "Keep playing." In that moment, watching Lily beam with pride, William and Maria shared a look of understanding. Whatever their differences, they both wanted their daughters to flourish. The following Tuesday, William had an emergency board meeting at his company headquarters. Robert Mitchell paced the conference room. "The rumors are spreading fast," Robert said. "Several board members have called me directly. You need to address this situation before it damages the company." "What situation exactly?" William asked, though he knew the answer. "Your secret family," Robert replied bluntly. "Jessica Taylor has been telling everyone who will listen that you've been hiding 3 illegitimate children for years." William's jaw tightened. "That's not what happened." "It doesn't matter," Robert insisted. "Perception is reality in business. The Emily Davies Cancer Research Foundation donors are asking questions. Your image as the devoted widower is at stake." William stood up, anger rising in his chest. "My family is not a PR problem to be managed, Robert, and I don't care about my image." "You should," Robert replied. "Your company employs over 3,000 people. Your foundation funds critical research. All that could be affected by a scandal." William looked out the window at the Boston skyline. His entire adult life had been devoted to building his business empire. But for the first time, that empire seemed less important than the 3 little girls with his blue eyes. "Schedule a board meeting for next week," William said finally. "I'll address everything then." As Robert left, William's phone buzzed with a text from Maria. Lily asked if she could have another piano lesson. Would this Saturday work? William smiled as he typed his reply. Saturday would be perfect. Saturday morning arrived with gray skies and light rain. William spent extra time preparing the music room, dusting off Emily's old beginner piano books and adjusting the bench height for Lily's small frame. He felt a mix of excitement and nervousness, similar to the feeling before an important business presentation. The doorbell rang at exactly 10 o'clock. William opened the front door to find all 4 Rodriguez women standing under a large umbrella. This surprised him. He had expected only Maria and Lily. "We all wanted to come," Maria explained, seeing his expression. Rose and Violet were very curious about where their sister would be taking piano lessons. "Of course," William said, stepping aside to let them enter. "Please, come in." The girls looked around the grand entrance hall with wide eyes. Even Maria, who had cleaned the mansion many times, seemed to see it differently now that she was a guest rather than an employee. "Your house is really big," Rose said bluntly. "Too big for just one person," William admitted. "I'm glad to have visitors today." He led them to the music room, a bright space with large windows overlooking the garden. The grand piano sat in the center, its lid open and ready. "Can we explore while Lily has her lesson?" Rose asked. Maria hesitated. "I don't think—" "It's fine," William assured her. "This is their house too, in a way. They should feel comfortable here." Maria looked surprised at his words but nodded. "Stay together," she told Rose and Violet, "and don't touch anything without asking first." While the other girls explored, Lily sat beside William at the piano. Her feet dangled well above the floor, but her expression showed complete concentration as William opened one of Emily's old books. "My wife used these books when she taught children," William explained. "She believed everyone should have the chance to learn music regardless of where they came from." "Was she a good teacher?" Lily asked softly. "The best," William smiled. "She taught me everything I know about piano." For the next hour, William guided Lily through basic exercises. Her natural talent was obvious. She picked up concepts quickly and remembered everything he showed her. Maria watched from a chair in the corner, her face softening at the sight of her daughter's joy. After the lesson, they all gathered in the kitchen where William had prepared lunch. As they ate sandwiches, Rose suddenly looked at William with serious eyes. "Are you going to be our dad now?" she asked. "Like a real dad who lives with us and takes us to school?" William nearly choked on his sandwich. He looked at Maria, who seemed equally startled by the question. "I want to be part of your lives," William said carefully, "but there are complicated grown-up things to figure out." "Like what?" Rose pressed. Before William could answer, the doorbell rang again. William excused himself, expecting it might be a package delivery. Instead, he opened the door to find a woman with a notebook and a man with a camera. "Mr. Davies? Janet Mills from the Boston Globe," the woman said quickly. "Can you comment on your secret second family? How long have you been hiding your daughters from the public?" William slammed the door shut and turned to see Maria standing in the hallway, her face pale. "What was that about?" she asked. "A reporter," William said grimly. "Somehow they found out about you and the girls." That evening, after Maria and the triplets had gone home, William received a call from Robert. "Have you seen tomorrow's Globe?" Robert asked without greeting. "No," William replied. "It's already online. Front page for tomorrow. Tech billionaire's secret second family discovered. They have photos of you with Maria and the girls at the park. Jessica Taylor is quoted extensively." William's heart sank. "What does it say?" "Nothing good," Robert sighed. "Jessica claims you've been hiding this family for years, that you abandoned them while caring for Emily. It suggests you're only acknowledging them now because you're dying." The next morning, Maria called William in a panic. "There are reporters outside my apartment building," she said, her voice shaking. "They're asking the girls questions on their way to school." Lily had a panic attack. "I had to bring them back inside." "I'm so sorry," William said, feeling helpless. "This is all my fault." "What are we going to do?" Maria asked. "The girls can't miss school, but I can't let those people harass them," William thought quickly. "I have a house on Cape Cod. It's private, gated. No one would bother you there." "We can't just leave everything and run away," Maria protested. "Just for a week or two until this dies down," William urged. "I can arrange for tutors so the girls don't fall behind." Maria was silent for a moment. I can't accept that. It's too much." Later that afternoon, Maria called back. Her voice sounded different, scared and angry. "A reporter followed Lily to the bathroom at the corner store," she said. "She was alone for just a minute. He kept asking her if she knew her father was dying. She's been crying for hours." William's grip tightened on his phone. "Pack your bags. I'm sending a car in 30 minutes. This time, Maria didn't argue. The seaside property in Cape Cod was much smaller than the Boston mansion, a 4-bedroom house with a wide deck overlooking the ocean. When they arrived that evening, the girls ran excitedly to the windows to see the waves crashing on the shore. "It's beautiful," Maria admitted, setting down their bags. "Emily loved it here," William said softly. "It was her favorite place." Over the next few days, a routine developed. William worked remotely in the mornings while Maria helped the girls with schoolwork. In the afternoons, they explored the beach or worked on projects related to their interests. William discovered that Rose had a scientific mind. She collected shells and categorized them, creating detailed drawings of each type. He showed her how to use a simple microscope he found in a closet, and she spent hours examining sand grains and seaweed. Violet, he learned, was artistic and quiet. She painted beautiful watercolors of the sea and sky, capturing the changing light with remarkable skill for a 6-year-old. William hung her paintings in the hallway, making her smile shyly with pride, and Lily continued to progress with music. William arranged for a professional piano teacher to visit twice a week. Under proper instruction, her talent blossomed even further. One evening, after the girls were asleep, William and Maria sat on the deck watching the stars appear over the ocean. "You should know exactly what we're dealing with," William said quietly. "My doctors originally gave me about a year, but they've revised that estimate. The cancer is spreading faster than expected." Maria looked at him, her eyes sad. "How long?" 6 months, maybe less." Maria was silent for a long time. "Why didn't you tell me immediately?" "I didn't want your decision about the girls to be based on pity," William explained, "and I needed to process it myself." The next day, William returned to Boston for a chemotherapy session. He had tried to schedule it while Maria and the girls were busy with a nature hike, but his plans failed when he returned to find them still at the house. He stumbled through the door, pale and visibly ill. Maria gasped when she saw him. "Girls, go to your rooms for a little while," she said quickly. "Is something wrong with William?" Rose asked, her sharp eyes noticing his condition immediately. "He's just not feeling well today," Maria said. "He needs to rest." After the girls reluctantly went upstairs, Maria helped William to the couch. "You didn't tell them I have cancer?" William asked weakly. "Not yet," Maria admitted. "I wasn't sure how." She brought him water and a blanket, helping him lie down comfortably. Her touch was gentle but confident, reminding him that she had cared for Emily during her final days. "Thank you," William whispered before falling into exhausted sleep. The next morning, Rose confronted them at breakfast. "Is William sick like Jimmy's grandpa? The one who died?" Maria and William exchanged looks. "Yes," William answered honestly. "I have cancer. The doctors are trying to make me better, but it's a serious illness." "Are you going to die?" Rose asked directly. William looked at the 3 identical faces watching him intently. "I might, but not right away, and not without spending as much time with you as possible first." That afternoon, Robert arrived at the Cape Cod house with a thick folder of papers. "The media situation is getting worse," he announced. "We need to control the narrative. I propose a press conference where you introduce Maria and the girls properly." "Absolutely not," Maria said firmly. "I won't parade my children in front of cameras." "With respect, Ms. Rodriguez, this affects Mr. Davies' business interests and the Foundation's work," Robert argued. "And with respect, Mr. Mitchell, I don't care about business interests," Maria shot back. "I care about my daughters." William watched them argue, seeing valid points on both sides. Finally, he suggested a compromise. "We'll release a written statement confirming that I recently discovered I have 3 daughters. We'll request privacy for the children." No photos, no interviews, no press conference. Maria considered this. Just a statement? William nodded. Just words on paper. The girls stay out of the spotlight. As Robert drafted the statement, William's phone rang. It was Jessica Taylor. William stared at his phone as Jessica Taylor's name flashed on the screen. After a moment's hesitation, he answered. "What do you want, Jessica?" he asked coldly. "William, I think we got off on the wrong foot." Jessica's voice sounded falsely sweet. "I just wanted to apologize for how things have developed with the press. You spoke to the Boston Globe about my family," William said. "You're the one who told them I've been hiding my daughters for years." "I simply answered their questions honestly," Jessica replied. "Perhaps if you had been more transparent from the beginning." William cut her off. "Stay away from my family, Jessica. You've done enough damage." He ended the call and turned to find Maria standing in the doorway, her expression concerned. "Was that the real estate agent who yelled at Lily?" she asked. William nodded. "She's angry because I took the mansion off the market. She lost a big commission. So she's trying to hurt you through us," Maria said quietly. "I won't let her," William promised, "but I need to make some arrangements to protect you and the girls." That night, after everyone was asleep, William sat at the small desk in his bedroom. His body ached from the chemotherapy, but his mind was racing with everything he needed to do. The clock was ticking faster than he had anticipated. The doctor's newest scan showed the cancer spreading to his liver. He opened his laptop and began working on documents. For each daughter, he created a trust fund focused on their individual interests. A music foundation for Lily, a science scholarship program for Rose, and an art endowment for Violet. He worked until dawn, organizing his assets to secure their future. The next morning, Maria found him still at his desk, pale and exhausted. "You need to rest," she said firmly, bringing him a cup of coffee. "There isn't time for rest," William replied. "I need to make sure everything is in order for the girls." Maria sat across from him. "What exactly are you doing?" William showed her the trust documents. "I'm creating funds for each girl's education and future." Maria frowned as she saw the figures. "This is too much, William. Millions of dollars for each of them? It's what I want to do," William said. "I can't be there to raise them, to help them grow and discover their talents. But I can make sure they have every opportunity." "We don't need your money," Maria insisted. "I've raised them just fine on my own." William looked at her with tired eyes. "This isn't about you or me, Maria. It's about them. Please understand, I'm not trying to buy their affection. I'm trying to give them what I won't be able to provide in person." Maria was quiet for a moment. "You really care about them, don't you? It's not just guilt or obligation." "They're my daughters," William said simply. "I love them." It was the first time he had said those words aloud, and they surprised even him with their truth. Meanwhile, across Boston, Jessica Taylor sat in an expensive restaurant with James Huntington, a wealthy property developer. Huntington was a tall man with cold eyes and a reputation for getting what he wanted. "The Davies mansion is perfect for my new condominium project," Huntington said, studying architectural plans spread on the table. "Demolish the main house, build 30 luxury units. The location is unbeatable." "William Davies won't sell now," Jessica explained. "He's planning to leave it to his newly discovered children." Huntington frowned. "I don't accept that. There must be a way to force the sale." Jessica smiled thinly. "Actually, there might be. I've been doing some research into Davies Industries' bylaws. There's a clause that allows the board to take control of company assets, including personal properties purchased with company funds, if the CEO is deemed mentally unfit to lead." "And you think we can convince the board that Davies is unfit?" Huntington asked. "He's dying, emotional, making rash decisions," Jessica replied, "and several board members are already concerned about his recent behavior. With your connections and my information, we might have a chance." The next morning, William received an urgent call from Robert. "We have a problem," Robert said. "James Huntington has requested a special board meeting to discuss your leadership. He owns enough shares to force the issue." "On what grounds?" William asked. "They're claiming your illness and recent erratic behavior regarding your newfound family raise questions about your decision-making capacity," Robert explained. "Several board members are concerned, William." "This is serious." William thought quickly. "When is the meeting?" 3 days from now," Robert replied. "Thursday at 9 in the morning." "I'll be there," William promised, "and I'm bringing my daughters." When William told Maria about the board meeting, she was hesitant. "Why do you want to bring the girls to your company?" she asked. "I want them to see what I've built," William explained. "And honestly, I want my employees and board members to meet them. It's harder to vote against a man when you've met his children." Maria considered this. As long as they're not being used as props in a business game. "They won't be," William assured her. "This is about them understanding their legacy, too." On Thursday morning, William arrived at the Davies Industries headquarters in downtown Boston. The 40-story glass building housed over 3,000 employees. William wore his best suit, and Maria had dressed the girls in matching blue dresses. As they entered the lobby, employees stopped and stared. Many had seen the news stories but were seeing the children in person for the first time. "This is where you work?" Rose asked, looking up at the high ceiling. "Yes." William smiled. "Would you like a tour before my meeting?" He showed them his office on the top floor with its view of Boston Harbor. He introduced them to his longtime assistant, Barbara, who had tears in her eyes as she met the girls. "They have your eyes," Barbara said quietly to William. "Exactly the same blue." In the company cafeteria, Lily spotted a small piano in the corner of the employee lounge. With William's encouragement, she sat down and began to play the piece she had been practicing. Employees gathered around, watching in amazement as the small girl played with such focus. When she finished, applause filled the room. Lily blushed and smiled. "Just like her father," one longtime employee commented. "William used to play at company events before Emily died," William completed softly. "Music was important to us both." By the time the board meeting began, word had spread throughout the building about the triplets. William left the girls with Maria in his office and entered the boardroom alone. 14 people sat around the large table, including Robert, several key investors, and James Huntington. Jessica Taylor sat in a chair against the wall, not a board member but invited as Huntington's real estate consultant. "Thank you for coming," William said calmly, taking his seat at the head of the table. "I understand there are concerns about my leadership." Huntington spoke first. "With respect, William, your health situation and recent personal revelations raise questions about your judgment. The company needs stable leadership." "And you believe I'm no longer providing that?" William asked. "The sudden appearance of these children, your decision to withdraw valuable properties from the market, your public statements about your illness, these suggest emotional rather than rational decision-making," Huntington continued. William listened patiently. When Huntington finished, he looked around the table at the people he had worked with for years. "I have cancer," he said directly. "The same type that took Emily. My doctors have revised my prognosis downward. I likely have months, not years." A murmur went around the table. "Yes. I recently discovered I have 3 daughters. And yes, I'm making changes to accommodate that reality, but my business judgment remains sound." William stood and walked to the window. "I built this company from nothing. We employ thousands of people. Our medical software saves lives every day. Nothing about that mission has changed because I found my children." He turned back to face the board. "What has changed is my perspective on what matters most. If you vote to remove me today, I'll accept that decision, but I will not apologize for putting my daughters first in the time I have left." The room was silent. Then Barbara entered with a message for William. "Sir, your daughter Lily would like to know if she can play something for you before you leave. She says it's important." William looked at Robert, who nodded slightly. "Bring them in," William said. Maria entered with the three girls. Lily walked directly to William. "I learned a new song," she said proudly. "Can I play it for you and your friends?" There was a small keyboard in the corner of the boardroom, used for presentations. Lily sat down and began to play, a simple but beautiful melody that Emily had composed years ago. When she finished, there wasn't a dry eye in the room. The board voted unanimously to keep William as CEO. Even Huntington, seeing he had lost, abstained rather than voting against him. As they left the building, William suddenly felt dizzy. He reached for the wall to steady himself, but his legs gave way. The last thing he heard before losing consciousness was Maria calling his name. He woke in the hospital with Maria sitting beside his bed. Her face told him the news before the doctor spoke. "The cancer has spread aggressively," Dr. Anderson explained gently. "The new tumors in your liver are causing complications. We need to adjust your treatment immediately." "How long?" William asked directly. The doctor hesitated. "Weeks, possibly a couple of months with aggressive treatment." After the doctor left, William turned to Maria. "We need to move faster than I thought. I want you and the girls to move into the mansion immediately." Maria stared at William in the hospital bed. His request to move into the mansion hung in the air between them. "William, I can't just pack up our lives and move in with you," she said softly. "The girls have school, I have my jobs, and that house? It's not our world." "Please, Maria," William said, his voice weak. "I don't have much time left. I want to spend it with my daughters in my home, in what should be their home too." Maria looked at his pale face and thin body. The strong businessman who had faced down his board of directors just hours ago now looked fragile in the hospital bed. "Let me think about it," she finally said. 3 days later, William returned home from the hospital. That same afternoon, Maria arrived at the mansion with 3 suitcases and 3 excited girls. "We're really going to live here?" Rose asked, her eyes wide as they stood in the grand entrance hall. "Just for a while," Maria answered, still uncertain about her decision. William appeared at the top of the staircase, moving slowly but smiling. "Welcome home," he said. That evening, William showed each girl to her own bedroom. He had spent his hospital stay directing staff by phone to prepare the rooms. "This is for you, Rose," he said, opening a door to reveal walls painted a soft green with a large bookshelf filled with science books and a small desk with a children's microscope. Rose ran immediately to the bookshelf. "Are these all for me?" "Everyone," William nodded. "And we can get more if you'd like." For Violet, he had prepared a room with an easel by the window, art supplies organized neatly on shelves and walls painted a calming blue. Violet touched the paintbrushes with gentle fingers. "Thank you," she whispered. Lily's room was last. When William opened the door, she gasped. A small, upright piano stood against one wall, sheet music organized nearby, and the walls were painted a soft yellow that caught the afternoon light. "Now you can practice whenever you want," William told her. Lily wrapped her arms around his legs in a tight hug. William placed a hand on her head, his eyes meeting Maria's over the child's embrace. Maria had been given the largest guest suite, decorated in neutral tones with simple, elegant furniture. When she saw it, she shook her head. "This is bigger than our entire apartment," she said. "Is that okay?" William asked, genuinely concerned. Maria sighed. "It's beautiful, but I feel out of place here." The first dinner in the formal dining room was awkward. The girls were intimidated by the long table, multiple forks, and crystal glasses. Halfway through the meal, Rose accidentally knocked over her water glass. Her face crumpled as she prepared to be scolded. "It's just water," William said quickly, blotting it with his napkin. "No harm done." The next morning, Maria asked William if they could eat in the kitchen instead. "The dining room is too formal for everyday meals with children," she explained. "We need a casual space where they can be comfortable." William agreed immediately. "Emily and I often ate in the kitchen too. It's cozier." William hired additional household staff to help, including a cook and a housekeeper. Maria initially felt uncomfortable giving directions to people in uniform. "You're their mother," William reminded her. "This is your house now too. You decide how things should be done." "But they're professional staff," Maria protested. "I'm just a cleaning woman." "No," William said firmly. "You're Maria Rodriguez, mother of 3 brilliant girls, and the person I trust most with my daughter's well-being. The staff will respect your decisions." Over the next few days, William spent most of his time with architects and contractors, transforming parts of the mansion to better suit his daughter's interests. Emily's music room was renovated for Lily, with the grand piano remaining but a smaller one added that was the right size for a 6-year-old. A science laboratory was created in a spare room for Rose, and an art studio was set up in a room with perfect northern light for Violet. One afternoon, Maria found William in Emily's closet, carefully sorting through her belongings. "What are you doing?" Maria asked, standing in the doorway. "It's time," William said simply. "These things should go to people who can use them." Emily would have wanted that. Maria hesitated, then entered and knelt beside him. "Let me help." Together they sorted through Emily's clothes and personal items. William told stories about each significant piece: the dress she wore to their first formal event, the scarf he bought her in Paris, the comfortable sweater she wore during her last days. In a drawer of Emily's desk, Maria found a stack of leather-bound journals. "These were her diaries," William explained. "I never read them. They felt too private." "Do you want to read them now?" Maria asked gently. William nodded. "I think I need to." That night, after the girls were asleep, William sat in his study with the journals. He started with the last one, from the period of Emily's final illness. Maria brought him tea and sat quietly in a chair nearby, giving him space but offering silent support. Suddenly, William gasped. "Maria, listen to this." He read aloud. "Bill came home today. He finally told me about the woman he's been seeing during our separation. Maria, I think her name is. I'm not angry. How could I be? I pushed him away when I got sick the first time. I told him to find happiness, and now that my cancer is back, I'm just grateful he's chosen to return to me for whatever time I have left. I hope she finds happiness too." William looked up, his eyes filled with tears. "She knew about us. She forgave me before she died." Maria moved to sit beside him. "She sounds like she was a wonderful person." "She was," William said, "and she would have loved the girls. She always wanted children." The discovery of Emily's forgiveness seemed to lift a weight from William. His health stabilized temporarily, giving them all precious time together. The doctors called it a plateau in his disease, not improvement, but a slowing of the decline. During this time, William taught Lily piano using Emily's beginner books. He conducted simple science experiments with Rose, delighting in her quick mind and endless questions. With Violet, he learned to paint, his clumsy attempts making her giggle, but also building her confidence as she showed him proper brush techniques. He also spent time with Maria, sharing stories of his life before his illness and learning about her childhood in Guatemala. Their relationship evolved from awkward co-parents to genuine friends who respected and relied on each other. One evening, they sat on the terrace watching the girls play in the garden. "Thank you," William said suddenly. "For what?" Maria asked. "For raising them so well. For bringing them here, for giving me this time with them." Maria smiled. "They needed to know their father, and you've been good for them." Meanwhile, across town, Jessica Taylor sat in her apartment, fuming over her failed attempt to force William out of his company. Her real estate business was suffering, Word had spread about her actions against the Davies family, and clients were dropping her. "This isn't over," she muttered to herself as she opened her laptop. She began searching for information about Maria Rodriguez, digging deeper than the basic background check Williams' company would have done. After several days of investigation, she discovered something interesting. Maria had entered the United States on a student visa 13 years ago, fleeing an abusive situation in Guatemala. That visa had expired, and while she had applied for renewal several times, the final approval had never come through. Technically, Maria was undocumented. Jessica smiled as she picked up her phone and dialed a number. Immigration and Customs Enforcement? I'd like to report a possible immigration violation. Back at the Davies mansion, William and Maria were unaware of the threat building against them. They were focused on creating a special space for the upcoming charity concert where Lily would perform for the first time in public. "Are you sure she's ready?" Maria asked as they discussed the event. "She's only 6. "Her teacher thinks she's ready," William replied, "and I'd like to see her perform at least once." The unsaid words hung between them, "Before I die." Maria nodded. "Then we'll make it happen." William began coughing, a deep, racking cough that had been getting worse over the past few days. Maria helped him to a chair and brought him water. "You should rest," she said with concern. "There's no time for rest," William replied. "There's still so much to do." The next morning, as William sat at breakfast with the family, the doorbell rang. The housekeeper answered it, then came to the dining room looking worried. "Mr. Davies," she said hesitantly, "there are some officials at the door. They say they're from Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They're asking to speak with Miss Rodriguez." Maria froze, her coffee cup halfway to her lips. The color drained from her face as she met William's eyes. "Stay here with the girls," William said quietly. He stood, straightened his shoulders, and went to face the visitors at the door. William approached the front door with as much dignity as he could muster despite his weakened state. 2 officers stood on the porch, their faces stern and official. "Good morning," William said calmly. "I'm William Davies. I understand you're looking for Maria Rodriguez." "Yes, sir," the taller officer replied. "We have some questions regarding Ms. Rodriguez's immigration status. We need to speak with her directly." William nodded. "Of course. But perhaps we could discuss this in my office first. I believe there may be some misunderstanding." The officers exchanged glances, then agreed. William led them to his study and closed the door. Immediately, he picked up his phone and called Robert Mitchell. "Robert, I need you at the mansion now. Bring the immigration attorneys from the firm. It's an emergency." He hung up and turned to the officers. "My legal team will be here shortly. In the meantime, may I ask what specific concerns you have about Miss Rodriguez?" "We received information that she's residing in the country with an expired visa," the shorter officer explained. "We're required to investigate such reports." "And may I ask who provided this information?" William asked, though he already suspected the answer. "I'm not at liberty to say," the officer replied. William nodded. "I understand. But you should know that Ms. Rodriguez is the mother of my 3 American-born daughters, and we are in the process of resolving her immigration status." In the kitchen, Maria sat frozen, her hands shaking as she tried to keep the girls calm. "Why are those people here to see you, Mommy?" Rose asked, noticing her mother's distress. "It's just some paperwork issues, mi amor," Maria said, forcing a smile. "Nothing for you to worry about." "Is it because you weren't born in America?" Lily asked quietly. Maria nodded. "Sometimes the government needs to check people's papers. William is helping me talk to them." Half an hour later, Robert arrived with 2 other lawyers. They went directly to William's study, where they spoke with the immigration officers for over an hour. Finally, the door opened, and everyone came out. The officers looked less stern now. "Ms. Rodriguez, we'll need you to appear at our office next Tuesday at 9 in the morning to review your case," the taller officer said. Your legal representation can accompany you." After they left, Maria collapsed into a chair, tears streaming down her face. "What happens now?" she asked. Robert sat across from her. "We'll file for an immediate adjustment of status based on your children's citizenship. The fact that William is their father and can provide affidavits will help substantially, but we need to move quickly." "Can they take Mommy away from us?" Violet asked, her voice small and frightened as she clung to Maria's side. "No, sweetheart," William said firmly. "We won't let that happen." Once the girls were settled with the housekeeper, William, Maria, and Robert gathered in the study. "How did they find out about Maria's status?" Robert asked. "I have a good idea," William said grimly. He picked up his phone and dialed Jessica Taylor's number, putting it on speaker. "William, what a surprise," Jessica answered, her voice falsely pleasant. "Did you report Maria to immigration authorities?" William asked directly. There was a pause. "I merely did my civic duty. If she's here legally, she has nothing to worry about." "You did this because I took the mansion off the market," William said. "Because you lost your commission. And because you humiliated me in front of clients," Jessica added, dropping her pleasant tone. "Actions have consequences, William." "Yes, they do," William replied coldly. "And you'll be hearing from my attorneys about harassment and intentional infliction of emotional distress. Goodbye, Jessica." After hanging up, William turned to Robert. "I want every legal resource we have working on Maria's case, and I want a restraining order against Jessica Taylor." The next day, William's health took another significant downturn. The stress of the immigration situation combined with his advancing cancer left him weaker than ever. For the first time, he began using a wheelchair for anything beyond short distances. Despite his declining health, William was determined to create positive memories with his family. One evening, as they sat in the kitchen eating dinner, he made a surprise announcement. "How would you girls like to go to Disney World next week?" 3 identical faces lit up with excitement. "Really?" Rose exclaimed. "We're going to Disney World?" "Is that the place with the big castle?" Lily asked. "And Mickey Mouse?" Violet added. William nodded, smiling at their enthusiasm. "Yes to all of that. I've already arranged everything." Maria looked concerned. "William, are you sure you're well enough for such a trip?" "I've made special arrangements," he assured her. "Medical support will be available if needed." But this is important. The trip to Disney World was exhausting for William but filled with moments he treasured. He watched from his wheelchair as the girls experienced the magic of the park for the first time. Their awe at the castle, their delight at meeting princesses, their laughter on the gentler rides he could join them on. On their last evening there, they watched fireworks explode over the castle. William looked at his daughters' upturned faces, illuminated by the colorful lights, and at Maria beside him, her hand resting supportively on his shoulder. For a moment, his pain receded, replaced by a profound sense of peace. When they returned to Boston, William decided to address Maria's immigration situation publicly. Against Robert's advice, he scheduled a press conference. "The public needs to understand what's happening to families like ours," William insisted. "Using my platform is the right thing to do." At the press conference, William spoke passionately about immigration reform and the challenges facing mixed-status families. "Maria Rodriguez came to this country seeking education and safety," he said to the assembled reporters. "She has raised 3 extraordinary American citizens, my daughters, who deserve to grow up with their mother present. Our immigration system is broken when it threatens to separate loving parents from their children." His statement created immediate controversy. While many praised his stance, others criticized him for using his privilege to bypass normal immigration channels. Several conservative business partners threatened to withdraw from deals with his company. "You've stirred up a hornet's nest," Robert told him afterward. "The board is receiving angry calls from investors." "Let them call," William replied. "Some things matter more than stock prices." 3 days later, William collapsed while helping Lily practice for her upcoming piano recital. The seizure lasted only 2 minutes but terrified the children. Maria called an ambulance and William was rushed to the hospital. "The cancer has spread to his brain," Dr. Anderson explained gently to Maria. "We can try radiation to reduce the swelling, but his condition is deteriorating rapidly." That night, Maria sat beside William's hospital bed while the girls slept in a nearby waiting room under Robert's watchful eye. William woke briefly, his eyes finding Maria's in the dim light. "Marry me," he said suddenly, his voice weak but clear. Maria blinked in surprise. "What?" "Marry me," William repeated. "It would solve your immigration status immediately. The girls would be protected. You would have legal rights to everything. William, you don't need to—" "I know I don't need to," he interrupted. "I want to." "Not for romance. We both know that's not what this is about. But for practical reasons, to protect you and the girls." Maria held his hand, tears filling her eyes. "I need to think about it. It's a big decision." William nodded, understanding her hesitation. "Of course. But please don't wait too long." The next morning, William was stronger, the anti-seizure medications having reduced the swelling in his brain. The doctors allowed the girls to visit briefly. "Are you coming home soon?" Rose asked, standing beside his bed. "As soon as the doctors say I can," William promised. "I'm practicing my song every day," Lily told him. "The teacher says I'll be ready for the recital next week." "I can't wait to hear you play," William said, smiling at her. After the girls left with Robert, Maria remained, still troubled by William's proposal. "I spoke with the immigration attorney this morning," she said. "They believe we have a strong case without marriage, but it could take months or even years to resolve fully." "Time I don't have," William said quietly. "That's what makes this so difficult," Maria admitted. "If I marry you, it might seem like I'm doing it only for papers or for your money. People will talk." "Let them talk," William said. "We know the truth." He reached into the drawer of his bedside table and pulled out a small velvet box. "I asked Robert to bring this from the safe at home. It was my mother's." He opened the box to reveal a simple but elegant diamond ring. "You don't need to answer now," William said, placing the box in her hand. "But please consider it. Not for me, but for our daughters." As Maria held the ring box, staring at the symbol of a decision she never expected to face, a doctor entered the room with a grave expression. "Mr. Davies, we've received the results of your latest tests," he said. "We need to discuss your treatment options immediately. The cancer is progressing more aggressively than we anticipated." Maria clutched the ring box tightly as the doctor began explaining William's worsening condition. Outside the hospital room, Lily sat on a chair in the hallway, quietly humming the piece she was determined to play for her father, whether in a concert hall or a hospital room. The doctor's words hung heavily in the hospital room. William's cancer had spread to his brain, and the new treatment options were limited at best. "How long?" William asked directly. "Weeks, not months," the doctor replied gently. "I'm so sorry." After the doctor left, Maria sat beside William's bed, still holding the ring box. The weight of the moment pressed down on her. William dying, her immigration status uncertain, 3 little girls who had just found their father only to lose him again. "Yes," Maria said suddenly. William turned to her, questioning. "Yes?" "I'll marry you," she said, opening the ring box. "Not just for the papers or the security, but because you've become family to us. The girls love you. And I—" She paused, searching for the right words. "I care about you, William. You've become important to me." William smiled weakly. "Thank you." 2 days later, a simple wedding ceremony took place in William's hospital room. Robert had arranged for a judge to perform the ceremony. The girls served as flower girls, sprinkling rose petals from the hospital gift shop around William's bed. Sarah, Maria's friend from their old apartment building, came as Maria's witness. Barbara, William's longtime assistant, stood by his side. "This isn't how I pictured getting married," Maria whispered to William as the judge prepared the paperwork. "Me neither," William admitted, "but I'm glad it's happening." The ceremony was brief but meaningful. When the judge pronounced them husband and wife, the girls cheered and hugged both parents. For a moment, the hospital room felt less clinical, transformed by the love of the newly official family. The next day, William surprised everyone by responding well to the anti-swelling medications. The doctors agreed to discharge him with strict home care instructions. "He wants to go home," Dr. Anderson told Maria. "At this stage, being comfortable and surrounded by family often provides better quality of life than staying in the hospital." William returned to the mansion, now confined mostly to bed or his wheelchair, but his mind remained sharp, focused on finalizing arrangements for his family's future. "We need to restructure the foundation," William told Robert during a meeting in his bedroom, now converted into a comfortable home office. "I want Maria to have a position on the board." "Are you sure that's wise?" Robert asked carefully. "She doesn't have experience in corporate governance." "She has something more important," William replied. "She understands what matters. The Emily and William Davies Foundation will focus on music education, immigration reform, and cancer research. Maria's perspective will be valuable on all three." Over the next few days, William worked tirelessly with Robert, adjusting his business holdings and charitable foundations. He appointed Maria to the board, established trust funds for the girls that would be managed by trusted advisors until they turned 25, and created a new music education program for underprivileged children. One morning, the housekeeper brought in the mail, including a cream-colored envelope addressed to William and Maria. Inside was a handwritten letter from Jessica Taylor. "I deeply regret my actions regarding your family," Jessica had written. "Jealousy and anger led me to behave in ways I'm ashamed of. While I don't expect forgiveness, I wanted you to know I've withdrawn my complaint with immigration. I hope this helps Maria's case proceed more smoothly." Maria read the letter with mixed emotions. "Do you think she means it?" "Perhaps," William said. "People can surprise you when faced with the consequences of their actions." Meanwhile, Lily continued practicing piano diligently. Her teacher, Miss Abernathy, visited the house 3 times a week for lessons. After one session, she asked to speak with William and Maria. "Lily has extraordinary talent," Ms. Abernathy said. "I believe she's ready for a public performance." "She's only 6 years old," Maria said, concerned. "Age doesn't matter when the gift is this strong," Ms. Abernathy insisted. "There's a charity concert benefiting the Children's Cancer Ward in 2 weeks. I'd like Lily to play." William's eyes lit up. "That would be wonderful." After Ms. Abernathy left, Maria expressed her concerns. "Are we pushing her too fast?" "I asked her the same question," William said. "She told me playing makes her happy, and she wants to play pretty music for sick children like Dad." Her words, not mine. Maria smiled, tears in her eyes. "She has your determination." The next day, William's condition worsened dramatically. His speech became slurred, and he had difficulty staying awake for more than an hour at a time. Dr. Anderson visited and confirmed what they feared. "The cancer is progressing faster than expected," she told Maria privately. "I don't think he'll make it to the concert next week." Hearing this, Maria made a decision. "Then we'll bring the concert to him." And, with help from the household staff and Ms. Abernathy, they transformed the mansion's ballroom into a concert hall. They moved Emily's grand piano to the center of the room, arranged chairs in a semicircle, and hung soft lights from the ceiling. When everything was ready, Maria helped William into his wheelchair and brought him to the ballroom. His eyes widened as he saw the transformation. "What's all this?" he asked, his voice weak but curious. "A special concert," Maria explained, "just for you." The girls entered in their best dresses. Rose and Violet sat in the front row while Lily took her place at the piano. Ms. Abernathy stood nearby, ready to guide her if needed. Lily began to play the piece she had been practicing for the charity concert, a simplified version of a Mozart sonata. Her small fingers moved confidently over the keys, creating music that filled the room with beauty. When she finished, William applauded with tears in his eyes. "That was perfect, Lily." "I have one more song," Lily said. "The first one you taught me. Can you play it with me?" William looked at Maria, who nodded encouragingly. With help, he moved from his wheelchair to the piano bench beside Lily. His hands shook as he placed them on the keys. Together, father and daughter played the simple melody, his fingers weak, but finding the right notes, her small hands steady and sure. It wasn't technically perfect, but it was beautiful in its authenticity. When they finished, William kissed the top of Lily's head. "I am so proud of you," he whispered. That night, William fell into a deep sleep from which the doctors said he might not wake. Maria gathered the girls around his bed the next morning. "Your father is very sick now," she explained gently. "The doctors think he may be leaving us soon. If you want to say anything to him, now is the time." Rose went first, sitting beside William with her serious expression. "Dad, I learned about stars in school yesterday," she said. "Teacher says when people die, they become stars. I'll look for you in the sky every night." Violet placed a painting by his bed, a colorful picture of their family standing in front of the mansion. "I made this for you," she said simply, kissing his cheek. Lily brought her portable keyboard and placed it near his bed. "I'll play for you every day," she promised. She began to play the melody they had shared, her eyes fixed on his face, hoping for some response. That evening, after the girls were asleep, Maria sat alone with William, holding his hand. She talked softly about the girls, about their plans for the future, about how they would always remember him. Shortly after midnight, William's breathing changed. Maria called for the nurse, but she knew what was happening. "It's okay," she whispered, stroking his hair. "We'll be okay. You can rest now." William Davies took his last breath at 12:27 in the morning, with Maria's hand clasped in his. The next few days passed in a blur of arrangements and tears. The girls processed their grief in different ways. Rose asked endless questions about death and heaven. Violet drew picture after picture of William, and Lily played piano constantly, as if the music could somehow reach him. A week after William's death, Robert gathered the family in William's study for the reading of the will. Maria already knew most of what it contained: the trusts for the girls, her position on the foundation board, ownership of the mansion. What surprised her was a final addition William had made just days before his death. William established the Lily Davies Music Scholarship, Robert explained. It will provide instruments and lessons to children who couldn't otherwise afford them, with special consideration for children from immigrant families. "He did that for me?" Lily asked, her eyes wide. "He did it because of you," Maria corrected gently. "Your talent showed him how many other children might have gifts that never get discovered because they don't have access to instruments or lessons." As Robert continued explaining the details of William's legacy, Maria looked around the study at her 3 daughters. They had lost so much, but they had also gained a father's love, however brief, and a future secure from the financial struggles that had defined their early years. When Robert finished, he handed Maria a sealed envelope. "William asked that you read this privately when you were ready." Later that night, after the girls were asleep, Maria opened the envelope. Inside was a letter in William's handwriting, along with a small USB drive. The letter began, "My dearest family, if you're reading this, I've already gone. But before I left, I wanted to leave you these final thoughts." Maria's hands trembled as she plugged the USB drive into her laptop. On the screen appeared a video of William, recorded in his study before his health declined severely. "Hello, Maria, Lily, Rose, and Violet," William began, his face thinner than when they first met, but his blue eyes still bright. "If you're watching this, I've left you. But I wanted to leave something more than legal documents and trust funds. I wanted to leave you my words." Maria paused the video and called for the girls. They came in their pajamas, rubbing sleep from their eyes. "Daddy left us a message," she explained, gathering them around her on the couch. She pressed play, and William's voice filled the room again. "First, to my incredible daughters. I'm sorry I wasn't there for the first 6 years of your lives. I'm sorry I won't be there for the rest. But the brief time I had with you was the most meaningful of my life." He spoke directly to each girl. "Lily, your music brings light into dark places. Never stop playing even when it's difficult. Rose, your curious mind will help you discover amazing things. Always ask questions. Violet, your quiet observations and artistic eye help you see beauty others miss. Keep creating." The girls watched, transfixed as their father spoke to them from beyond death. "And Maria," William continued, his voice softening, "thank you for sharing our daughters with me. Thank you for your forgiveness, your strength, and your kindness. I leave them in the best hands possible. Yours." William explained his vision for the foundation and the mansion. "I don't want it to be a mausoleum to my memory. Make it a home filled with life, music, and purpose." The video ended with William playing a simple melody on Emily's piano, the same one he had taught Lily. "I love you all," he said finally. "Be happy." 6 months later, the Davies mansion had transformed. The East Wing now housed the Emily and William Davies School of Music, with classrooms and practice rooms where children from all backgrounds came to learn. The West Wing remained the family's private residence, while the central portion served as headquarters for the foundation. Maria sat at her desk in what had once been William's study, reviewing applications for the next round of music scholarships. She wore her hair differently now, loose rather than in the tight ponytail from her cleaning days, and her clothes were more professional, though still simple. Barbara, William's former assistant who now worked with Maria, entered with a stack of papers. "The final RSVPs for the gala came in," Barbara said. "We're at full capacity." 300 people, Maria said, still amazed at the response. "I never imagined so many would come." "William was respected," Barbara replied, "and people are curious about the family he left behind." Maria nodded. In the months since William's death, she had grown into her role as foundation director. Her natural organizational skills, combined with her perspective as an immigrant and a mother, brought fresh approaches to the foundation's work. The phone on her desk rang. "Miss Davies? Your sister-in-law is here to see you." Maria smiled. "Send her in, please." Catherine Davies entered the room, carrying a shopping bag. Tall and elegant at 52, she had William's blue eyes and direct manner. She had appeared at William's funeral after 20 years of estrangement from her brother. At first, Maria had been wary, but Catherine had proven to be a supportive presence for the girls, sharing stories about their father's childhood that helped them feel connected to him. "I brought cookies," Catherine announced, placing the bag on the desk. The girls mentioned they were having a rough week. "The 6-month anniversary hit them hard," Maria explained, "especially Lily, especially." "Is she still practicing for the gala?" Catherine asked. Maria nodded. 4 hours yesterday. I had to make her stop and eat dinner." "She's determined to make William proud," Catherine said. "Just like him, stubborn and focused." Later that afternoon, Maria checked on the girls in their after-school activities. Rose was in her science room, working with a tutor from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology on a project about marine life. The program had been established through one of William's final donations. "Mom, look!" Rose called excitedly. "I can see the fish scales under the microscope. They look like tiny plates." Next, Maria visited Violet in her art studio, papers covered with colorful designs spread across the table. "These are beautiful," Maria said, examining the drawings. "What are they for?" "The program for the gala," Violet explained. "I'm helping design it." Finally, Maria found Lily in the music room, practicing intensely for her performance at the upcoming fundraising event. Her skills had advanced remarkably under regular instruction. "That sounds wonderful," Maria said when Lily finished a particularly difficult passage. "I keep making a mistake in the middle part," Lily said, frowning at the sheet music. "You'll get it," Maria encouraged her. "But you need breaks too." Catherine brought cookies. As they walked to the kitchen together, they passed Jessica Taylor in the hallway. Jessica smiled uncertainly and nodded to them before continuing toward the foundation offices with a stack of folders. After her apology letter, Jessica had asked if she could volunteer at the foundation. Maria had been hesitant but decided to give her a chance. Jessica now helped coordinate venue donations and corporate sponsorships, using her real estate connections for a positive purpose. Their relationship remained careful but civil. That evening, as Maria helped the girls with homework at the kitchen table, the doorbell rang. The housekeeper answered it and returned with a large envelope. "Final approval from Immigration Services," she announced, handing it to Maria. Maria opened it with trembling hands. Inside was her permanent resident card, the green card she had sought for so many years. Her marriage to William, though brief, had fast-tracked her application, and Robert's legal team had ensured everything proceeded smoothly after William's death. "Does this mean we don't have to worry anymore?" Rose asked, understanding more than most 6-year-olds about their mother's immigration struggles. "That's right," Maria said, tears filling her eyes as she looked at the official document. "We're officially home." The night of the Foundation's first major fundraising gala arrived on a clear spring evening. Guests in formal attire filled the mansion's ballroom, which had been elegantly decorated for the occasion. Before dinner, they toured the new music school facilities in the East Wing. Maria stood at the entrance to the first classroom, named the Emily Davies Room, greeting benefactors and explaining the Foundation's mission. "We've already provided scholarships to 27 students," she told an elderly couple, "children who otherwise couldn't afford music lessons." Robert approached, looking impressed. "You've done remarkable work, Maria. William would be proud." "We all have," Maria replied. "The Foundation team, Catherine, even Jessica, has helped tremendously with tonight's event." After dinner, Maria took the stage for a brief speech. She had practiced for days, nervous about addressing such a distinguished crowd. "Thank you all for coming tonight," she began. 6 months ago, I was a cleaning woman with 3 daughters trying to make ends meet. Today, I stand before you as the director of this foundation because William Davies saw value in people that others overlooked. She explained the foundation's 3 main focuses: music education for underserved children, immigration support services, and cancer research. William believed everyone deserves a chance to develop their gifts, she continued. Tonight, you'll hear one such gift. My daughter Lily will now perform on the piano that once belonged to Emily Davies. Lily walked to the grand piano in her new blue dress, looking small beside the magnificent instrument. She sat on the bench, adjusted her position, and began to play. The piece was a composition that William had started and Lily had helped complete during their lessons together. It began simply, grew more complex in the middle, and returned to a variation of the original theme at the end. Though only 7 years old, Lily played with remarkable poise and emotion. When she finished, the audience rose in a standing ovation. Lily curtsied as William had taught her, then ran to hug her mother, sisters, and Aunt Catherine. And later that night, after the guests had left and the girls were asleep, Maria walked through the quiet mansion. She stopped in the ballroom, where a portrait of Emily and William now hung beside a newer one of Maria with the 3 girls. She thought about how much had changed in 1 year. The mansion, once silent and filled with grief, now echoed with children's voices, music, and purpose. The Davies name, which had represented old money and corporate success, now also stood for opportunity and inclusion. Maria remembered William's words from his final video. Make it a home filled with life, music, and purpose. They had done exactly that. The next morning, Maria stood on the mansion's front steps as a small girl approached, clutching her mother's hand. The child looked nervous, her worn clothes and timid demeanor revealing her family's modest means. In her other hand, she held a scholarship letter signed by Maria Rodriguez Davies. "Welcome to the Davies School of Music," Maria said warmly. "Lily will show you around." Lily appeared beside her mother, smiling at the new student. "Do you want to see the pianos first?" That's where I started. As the two girls walked inside together, Maria watched with pride. This was William's true legacy, not buildings or bank accounts, but the opportunities he had created for children to discover their gifts, one note at a time. If you enjoyed today's video, I'm sure you'll love the next one. Don't waste time. Just click on the screen.